Today we're going to talk about movable chord systems in this session. Movable chord systems opens up an entire world of chords that are not available in open position or root position. For instance, it's very, very difficult to play a C sharp minor or A flat chord down here in the open position. So there are ways to do that. For instance, there are several different kinds of chords that can be moved around. E is one of them. But instead of playing E this way with fingers 1, 2, and 3, we're going to switch our fingers to play it with fingers 2, 3, and 4, leaving my first finger free. This allows me to take my E chord, move it up, lay down this finger, which is now essentially becoming this nut, and now I have an F chord. Now you already have an F, but this is the full meal deal. But I can move it up another fret, and I have an F sharp, a chord that you cannot play very easily at all in root position. Move it up again, a G, which you have a G, but this is a different G. Move it up again, you have G sharp, and A sharp, or B flat, B, C. And in this fashion, you can take this E chord, and you can move it around anywhere you want to. So now, you too can play because that song is completely made up of an E chord that you simply move around to different places. In addition, if you know how to do that with an E chord, then every E type that you know of, like E7, can also be moved around. This is now F sharp 7, or G sharp 7, or B flat 7. How about minors? Here's E minor, F sharp minor, G minor. How about some 6 chords? Here's a E6. Here's F sharp 6. You can move those chords around anywhere you want to. You have now just taken the amount of chords that you know and multiplied it by at least 10, because you can slide the thing around to any key you want to, getting to places that would not normally be particularly very friendly. The same thing can be done with the A chord. Now, many of us already play the A chord with fingers 2, 3, and 4. If you play it with 1, 2, and 3, you'll have to switch. But if you already play it with fingers 2, 3, and 4, you're in a good place, because you can take that A chord and do exactly the same thing. You can slide it up, put your finger down to create this nut, and now you have B flat. Or move it up again and you have B, or C sharp. Now, what most guitar players do is, instead of playing with their fingers 2, 3, and 4, they usually actually take it and play it with just one finger. They just take this finger and lay it, and it bends down. It's about the right length, so you can cover about 3 strings. So once you learn how to do that, then you too can play Metallica. Because that is just an A chord slid around in different places. It's entirely made up of A chords. The other forms of A can be moved around just like we did with the other forms of E. Here is an A minor, but instead of playing with fingers 1, 2, and 3, I play it with fingers 2, 3, and 4, like I did with the E chord. Move it up. I am now leaving my first finger free. I have B flat minor, or B minor, or C minor, or C sharp minor. Here's A minor 7. Move it up, and you have B minor 7, or C sharp minor 7. Here's A7. Move it up, and you have B flat 7, or C sharp 7. Here is A major 7. Move it up, and you have B major 7, or C sharp major 7. Just like you did with the other chords, you can slide them anywhere on the neck and get to any chord you want to get to. Combining the E belt system and the A belt system and being able to move them around the neck allows you access to a great many deal of chords. For instance, here's a piece by Boston, which starts off on a C sharp minor. I'm using an A belt form, an A minor shape. And it goes to an A, which is on 5th fret, but it's using an E shape. Moving up to an E, but I'm using this A shape. Back to an E shape for B. And you get There are other chords that can be moved around. For instance, if you know a C chord, you may know. Another chord you may not know is a C7, which you just add your pinky on the 3rd fret of the 3rd string. This chord is actually very, very movable, but you can't play the 1st string or the 6th string, so you have to dampen in some way. But here's C7, here's C sharp 7, here's D7. So when would you do this? Well, Carlos Santana actually does this in his tune Smooth. He uses an A minor chord, which he only uses a partial chord, the actual full chord to be here, but he only uses 4 strings. And then he uses that that C7 shape. Other chords that can be moved around, for instance, the D chord. Actually, but you can only play about 3 strings of it. Used a lot in lead work. You can play a D, or an E, or an F, or a G. Same thing applies. If you want to use a 7 chord, then make it a D7 chord. And now you can slide that around. D7, E7, F7, okay, or a minor chord. For instance, that's used in Brick House. This next piece uses a variety of the movable shapes that we've talked about. It uses the E. However, we're using just a lead form of it, so we're using just the upper strings. It uses some of the A. Again, we're using oftentimes just the upper strings. It uses a lot of D, sometimes as a D form, some as a D minor form, some as a D minor 7 form. And so you can slide them around in different places. And you get, if you mix them all together, the E shapes, the A shapes, the D shapes, you get something like this. Another movable chord that's quite useful is the B7 sharp 9. Now you take your B7 chord, move your pinky to the 2nd string, 3rd fret, and you have a B7 sharp 9 chord. This can be very, very movable. This is also known as the Hendrix chord.